It is time for the Denver Broncos stock report. Who's up and who's down following their Week 7 victory 33-10 over the New Orleans Saints on Thursday Night Football. But before we jump into that, guys, I want to thank the affiliate partner for today's video, Whitebeard Signworks. Use code BS30, link in the description down below, to save $30 off your first purchase on NFL LED team logo signs just like this one behind me. Thank you so much to Whitebeard Signworks, and now jumping into the winners and losers from today's video. Naturally, in a blowout victory, there are going to be a lot more winners than losers. I've got 19 players in the winners category to just 3 in the losers category with 1 dishonorable mention. So jumping right in, Javonte Williams is going to be our first winner of the game. He was awesome in the victory over the Saints, and it came after I criticized him pretty heavily for his poor performance in Week 6 versus the Chargers. He dropped a screen pass on 2nd down and 10 that would have continued to drive, and before that, he put the ball on the ground in the first quarter and had a fumble. It was really not good. Williams was kind of going on a hot streak there during the Broncos' 3-game win streak and then fell back to earth against the Chargers. Well, Williams was able to bounce back big time with 111 scrimmage yards, 6.3 yards per carry. He was effective in the passing game, really good in pass protection, scored 2 touchdowns on the ground. Javonte Williams silenced any and all critics, including myself. I'm really hoping that he can keep it up. Another guy who I criticized heading into this game, who proved me wrong, was Cody Barton. He was absolutely incredible. Should have had 2 defensive touchdowns if it weren't for DJ Jones jumping off sides on one of them. Got those 2 scoop and scores. Then had a forced fumble on Spencer Rattler that gave the Broncos the ball near midfield. That was such an awesome game that we saw from Cody Barton. Again, another player that I gave some grief for his performance against the Chargers. He gave up that wheel route for a touchdown to Kamani Vidal, but clearly answered the bell and silenced any criticism that myself and any other members of Broncos country might have had. The interior offensive line for the Broncos was incredible. Mike McGlinchey was also incredible. All of those guys performed at a very high level, especially in run blocking. The return of Mike McGlinchey from injury really gave the Broncos run blocking a boost. I thought Forsyth was awesome. I thought Quinn Miners was awesome. And I really also thought that Ben Powers, who has kind of gotten some flack from members of Broncos country in previous seasons. I think he's putting together a really monster season this year, and he continued that in the game against the New Orleans Saints. So even Garrett Bowles, I thought he played pretty well too. He didn't really get himself noticed out there. He didn't have any egregious negative plays. So I thought the entire Broncos offensive line did a good job in this game, and I think they all collectively deserve a game ball for their performance in this game. Jaleel McLaughlin, it wasn't just Javonte Williams who was running well. Jaleel McLaughlin was really good in this game too. He would have had a long touchdown run if it weren't for Tyrann Mathieu stopping him. Mathieu also stopped a would-be touchdown from Javonte Williams, so Williams could have had 3 touchdowns on the ground, but Jaleel McLaughlin, he's been awesome, especially in this game. I'm definitely impressed with him. Riley Moss, what more is there to say? He has been locked down. He took away the Saints receiving core yesterday as the Broncos' quasi-number-1 corner with Pat Surtain out. The Broncos played a lot more zone coverage in this game than we've seen them play in previous games in this season. And I thought that Riley Moss rose to the occasion. I also thought that Jaquan McMillan rose to the occasion as well. He's also in the winners list. Had that forced fumble on the nickel blitz. That was really cool to see. We also saw him stop a reverse dead in its tracks, like 4 or 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Jaquan McMillan, he's been quietly one of the best nickel corners, if not the best nickel corner in the NFL. We finally saw that Troy Franklin breakout game that we've been looking for. 5 catches for 50 yards, had a couple of nice explosive plays, was really the best receiver for the Broncos in this game. Really impressed with Troy Franklin. Also, Lucas Kroll, another player in the winners category, finally saw some production from the Broncos at the tight end position. Kroll had a couple of nice catches, especially in that 2-minute drill where the Broncos went down and got that field goal, put them up 16-3. Really impressed with what we saw from Kroll. And we also finally saw a seam shot down the middle of the field. Kroll went up and snagged the ball out in the air. Really impressive stuff. Justin Strnad, he led the team in tackles. He's filled in Alex Singleton's old role really well. Cody Barton has the green dot now, but in terms of the actual role That's now Justin Sternad's job, and he stepped into it really well. I thought Levi Wallace played great in this game, had a bunch of tackles, was pretty locked down in coverage, had no issues with Levi Wallace. PJ Locke had a couple of tackles in the backfield. Nick Bonito continues his sack streak. He's been dominant off the edge for the Broncos this year. Zach Allen, John Franklin Myers, Malcolm Roach, those were the three guys on the interior defensive line that really stood out, but DJ Jones had a good game as well. The entire Broncos defensive line was incredible. And the final player that I have in the winners category is Will Lutz. He has been money ever since the Denver Broncos traded for him. The Saints have a good kicker in their own right in Blake Grupe, but the Broncos got very lucky that Will Lutz became expendable last year, and he's now been one of the most reliable kickers for the NFL, for the Denver Broncos, since he has taken over that job. Unfortunately, now we do have to move into the losers category, and we're going to start off with a player who I kind of debate if I should even put him here or not, but with the way that he did play, especially to start off the game, I had to put him here, and that was Bo Nix. I didn't think that it was an all-out terrible performance from Nix. I thought there was plenty of positives. I think Bo Nix is right on track in his development as a rookie quarterback. I think there have been more positives than negatives on the year for Bo Nix. I'm very impressed with his development so far. I am still very much in on Bo Nix. This isn't a this is a criticism of Bo Nix, but this isn't me saying that I am any less in on Bo Nix than I was heading into this game. I still believe in Bo Nix. I still believe he can be the quarterback of the future for this team. But I do have to criticize him where the criticism is fair, and his footwork once again let him down early in this game. We saw him spraying throws, we saw him missing wide open targets, and it all stems down to uncomfortability in the pocket as well as footwork. The great news is all of that stuff is very easily fixable. Some of it, like the footwork, is more so in off season rather than in the middle of the regular season. But not to say that that stuff can't improve as the season goes on, and I fully expect it to. Again, I am not crapping on Bo Nix for his performance. He had some nice plays. He was able to use his legs to his benefit with some design QB runs, some read options. That was really good to see. And in the passing game, the Broncos started to use some RPOs, and that allowed him to get his feet set right away, and he was on time, in rhythm, delivering some strikes. I thought that Bo actually put together overall a pretty good game after starting it off pretty rough. That's why I didn't really want to put him in the losers category, but until he cleans up that footwork, that's going to be an issue that is going to be to Bo's detriment. So once he gets more comfortable in the pocket and once he cleans up his footwork, I think that the sky is the limit for Bo Nix. He has shown a lot of promise, and I'm very, very optimistic about Bo Nix's future. Another player who I'm still optimistic about, but again, he's put the ball on the carpet a couple of times. He put the ball on the carpet in this game. That's Audric Estime. He had a couple of nice runs, so it was hard putting him in the losers category, but when you put the ball on the carpet, when you're trying to close out a game like the Broncos were, can't do that. Got to have two hands on the ball in that situation. The final Broncos player I have in the losers category is Marvin Mims. I thought that we saw him drop a couple balls, had some bad routes. He's a guy that is kind of trying to rely on pure speed and athleticism and not really relying much on intricate route running, and that's going to be to his detriment. I think we're starting to see why the Broncos were hesitant to play Marvin Mims early on in the year. The final dishonorable mention that I have, though, in this losers category is the New Orleans Saints as a whole. That team is a mess. They are decimated by injuries. They clearly do not believe in their head coach, Dennis Allen. It feels like Dennis Allen has lost that locker room. Things are just bad news bears right now in New Orleans, and they might be having a fire sale here as we get close to the trade deadline. So they are a dishonorable mention in the losers category because pretty much everything that could have gone wrong for the Saints in that game did go wrong in that game. It was absolutely terrible. All right, Broncos country, let me know in the comment section below. Is there anybody that I missed in either the winners or losers category that you wanted to give some love to? Drop those comments down below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts as always. Be sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. And until next time, guys, I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.